Hey everybody, welcome back. Psychedelic here. And tonight, well, for me it's tonight. I'll probably post this in the morning, but we are going to be compiling my top 10 finds of 2022. And before we get to that, though, I want to give a little health update, you could call it. Just going to give you guys a little update about if you guys have been following me on my past two videos, I mentioned it's going to be having surgery. As you can tell, I'm still alive and about back to normal. So just kind of a slow recovery, but I've been recovering pretty well as far as moving around and stuff. Um, Sometimes I lose a little bit of energy here and there. I'm already back working and stuff. So if you didn't know, I had hernia surgery. So it's a lot different procedure than they did say 10 or so years ago now, where it was like bigger incisions. This one was like 3 tiny incisions on the lower part of my stomach. And they have like a different kind of mesh that they use, like a sort of a fabric type of mesh that's intertwined and works pretty well. So as far as like me getting around, doing really good. So, it's still a little hard to like fully bend over, and, lifting over 20 pounds yet is still difficult, but picking up pretty well, picking the pieces up. So just if anyone was concerned about that, that's the news on that. The last couple months, man, I just been like sick on and off and having surgery. This is my first surgery, by the way, that I've ever had. So it's not the first time I've been knocked out. I've had my wisdom teeth taken out with anesthesia, but yeah. So we're all kicking into gear here and getting back from the holidays. I just got back today from my hometown and had Monday off today, so I figured before heading back to work, just figured I'd throw another video out before the end of the year's over. So let's dive into this. So I don't remember how we did it last year, if we just did it from the number 1 spot to number 10, but it's kind of pointless ranking these, I feel like, because it's like, at this point, I mean, I picked these up because I love all these albums, and some of these I'm kind of compiling, though, like as far as like, my personal number 1 favorite down to number 10, but they all go hand in hand. I got these in the list for a reason. And these are all like just personal picks, stuff that I'm just going to keep in the collection. Some things like I found recently, in December here, found that Joy record that I've been sharing a lot. It's probably one I'm not going to keep, but this would definitely be in that list if I was keeping it. But these are the ones that are the keepers. So enough rambling about my health. Who cares about that, right? Let's dive into these suckers. So number 1 spot, the human beast has shed its second skin. Oh yeah, that booty. This is the Human Beast, Volume 1. Never in my wildest dreams imagined to owning this bad boy. This is a German original copy. Pretty much just as rare as the first pressings on the UK Decca. It's on the red label here. Super nice VG Plus copy. Got a pretty steady deal, you could say, on this one. This is definitely up in the top 5 for most I've ever spent on a record, but I don't know, last year I was really enjoying this one quite heavily, and still am. I put this on quite frequently and stream it at work, and stuff like that. So yeah, this is one I picked up last year. I purchased it, but it arrived early January, so considering it part of this year's finds, came in my possession this year. So yeah, I could talk forever about this one, but yeah, it's just blazing psychedelic rock, kind of on the aesthetic rock side, with some acoustic set in between, especially on like side 2. But yeah, some fantastic power trio stoned rock, man. It's got a very stoner vibe to it, and I still don't know what to depict from this album art. Put them in the sleeve later. So yeah, very, very stoked to find that one. This one just about as equal, man. This is one that finally crossed off after been seeking it for like over 5 years now. Graham James, What Is Me? A local grill acquired, man. I've talked about it before, but Renee Records, it's an old studio that's still up and running. Not really, but it's still up. The building is, and this was recorded like about 40 miles away from me, from Lincoln, and yeah, basically some hitchhiking enigma dude just drifts in the studio. That's primarily focused on polka and country records, and this guy is kind of more of a raggedy singer-songwriter with kind of influences on like Bob Dylan and Neil Diamond kind of singer-songwriters, but with kind of a stoned edge to it. Renee Records all have different color variations. This one's on green. Yeah, and this is one of those cases where the sleeve does suffer from ring wear, unfortunately, but the disc is really clean, so couldn't pass it up. This one actually landed locally in the shop, and he had no idea I was looking for it either. He kind of knew I was into like local stuff, but I guess he knows me more of like a psychedelic kind of guy, so that one's a little more geared towards like straight up singer-songwriter. But this definitely has one of the top tier acid folk tracks ever recorded, which is The Superlative Life Is Free, and it's worth checking out on YouTube if you haven't heard it. Also, I also featured this in one of my psychedelic mixes as well, Psychedelic Trips. Number 3, this is one that is actually pretty still acquirable, as far as like the style of what this is and considering the label it's on. This is Bulldog Breed, made in England. This is a France pressing on Duram Nova. Definitely, like I said, one of the more affordable copies or affordable albums on the label. I mean, compared to like Aardvark and just the style of music itself too. It's kind of got that freak beat style going for it. Sort of like the Open Mind amongst those kind of bands, The Smoke from Germany. But it's got a lot of varied styles on here, from hard rock to kind of a heavier freak beat style to some light pop psych material. And I guess I kind of got into this one because of Peter Dutton, who has been on a big kick lately this year, which I'll talk about probably next in my next video. But he passed away about a year ago now, and he's not featured on this record, but members of T2 are on this one, Keith Cross and the other fella. But yeah, red Duram Nova label. Got this for about $100, and yeah, it's pretty affordable compared to a lot of imports of this caliber, so definitely worth checking out. Kind of grows on you over time, I would say. This is one of the better scores as far as imports go. Got this a few months ago, The Way We Live. It's a band also known as Tractor. It's a power duo. These guys released, I think, 3 albums total. This one, Tractor, and I forget the name of the other one. Is it Bow, A Creation or something? I forget now, but honestly, this is probably my favorite of the albums they produced, I would say. This is on the John Peel label, Dandelion. Shot label there. Pretty crispy copy. Yeah, not much to say about this except it's kind of masterclass mixture of both hard rock styles and kind of acoustic sets, somewhat Eastern driven in some spots. Nice varied material, kind of reminds me of the same kind of production like Christopher on Metro Media. Kind of got that similar theme and vibe going for it a little bit, where it's kind of got those kind of folky moments, but they can really set ablaze those amps. And this is one of the better ones I've been trying to track down a couple years now. This is Exit, also known as Lincoln Street Exit, their album Entrance. This is kind of a compilation basically of material from 67 to 68, back when they're kind of in their garage phase, their origins, before their mainstream record came along. This has got one track from that is featured on the mainstream record, which is Soulful Drifter, I believe. Pretty solid, you know, garage-driven psych pop in some spots. Kind of reminds me of J.K. and Company in some areas as well, kind of with the vocals and some of the arrangements going on. Kind of flows just like a regular studio album, really. This came out in '74, but yeah, it's definitely one of the more harder pieces to track down. Native American group. Unlike their other records, this one does not have any Native American traits to it, unlike their other stuff, so kind of unique. Yeah, man, this is a big one crossed off. Can't believe I have this one yet. It's a few different variations of this, and I think it has been reissued. Even those are kind of tough to come by, I believe, too, because they're unofficial and stuff like that. So, moving on, this is one of the better ones I picked up locally as well. Again, part of the Ringware scheme going on. This is Mountain Bus with their album Sundance. This one gets really treaded with Ringware. It's really cheap, kind of textured cover going on. The vinyl's really thin too, but it's got great sound to it, kind of like a Dynaflex does, you know. A Chicago-based band, and I guess the only way to put this one is if you can't get into the Grateful Dead, check this one out. This is very much identical kind of sounding group, but they have like all their characteristics like the Grateful Dead, but it's a lot more perhaps adventurous, a little more spatial seeking. I don't know. I like the Grateful Dead, but I could never get past like the Live Dead record. Once they get started dipping their toes in like the country, kind of rootsy blues rock stuff, it's kind of where I tap out. But although Terrapin Station was one of my favorite records growing up, I still like that album. But I think this is like a private press as well, and got a good deal on this one considering the record has Ringware, but it's a nice clean copy. The track to check out, side 2 is amazing. It's where they really get spaced out. I Know You Rider, which I believe is a cover. I think the Byrds did that track too, and Apache Canyon gets really reverberated. It's got a lot of like great delay guitars stuff going on. Based out of Chicago, and they just nailed that West Coast sound down, man. Fantastic record. This is one I got early on as well. I've been listening to this one a lot last year. This is Blonde on Blonde, sophomore album, Rebirth. That's definitely my favorite of theirs. I've always liked this kind of fold-out cover. This is a UK pressing, I believe, on Ember Records. I never had a US copy. Let me get a shot of it here. And sound quality's amazing. The sound production on this one is really top-notch, even above The Way We Live, the one I shared earlier. It's very crispy drums. It's almost got this kind of creamy, buttery smooth sound to it all the way through. It's got a lot of, you know, reverb production going on, and sometimes the vocals might get a little irritating at times. He's got this, you know, kind of repetitive vibrato sound, but you listen to it enough times, it works, you know. You kind of deal with it, but yeah, this is a favorite of mine, actually. I rank this one pretty high as far as like progressive hard rock primarily, but it's got those, you know, late 60s crossover sounds coming through as well. So not sure if I'll ever pick up their first album. It's kind of spotty to me. It's got some great moments, but half of it, it's just like, you know, I feel like it could have been a little better composed, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, this one's kind of slept on. Even the single off of this one, Castles in the Sky, it's really great aesthetic guitar work going on. Again, yeah, these last three, these are all local ones dropped in the shop. So I shared this one early on this year. I was asking you guys if I should pick up this one or the Farm Band, and thinking back on it, I should have got the Farm Band, but this is still one that you never cross paths with, and this is Kingdom, one and only album, 1970. Yeah, I think this band's based out of New York City, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but this is kind of famous for Dr. Demento producing this as a youngin', and it's like the only psych-related title on Specialty label, so it's kind of getting hard to come by. This is a fairly decent copy. I mean, the vinyl is much better shape. Cover's a little, I think it's got some splitting going on and some general wear, but otherwise great. Kind of a basic hard rock sound. It's got the guitar organ combo going on, but it rocks out. It's a rocker, so yeah, thinking back on it, I mean, these were like the same price as the Farm Band. I kind of regret passing that one up because now it's like seeming to be impossible to come across that one. So this is one I picked up when I was living, not in Lincoln, but this is one I picked up on one of Tuco's little expeditions. If you guys are following Tuco, the vintage vinyl hunter, this is one stop that he made, and for some reason passed on this one, even though a lot of the records weren't in great shape. I just couldn't leave this one behind either. This is Now and Them, and cover's actually kind of peeling a little more on the back, so it's not in the greatest shape. Vinyl's just a little bit better. This is on the Tower label, and this is just one you just never come across. Especially their next one after this. Super tough to find. Thankfully, I grabbed that one, but yeah, it does have a skip in it, which rarely happens on my player, but there is a moment where it does skip across on one track, unfortunately. But like I said, I come across these things, and even if I just spot the artifact, I'm not leaving it behind. Still very happy to trek across this one, regardless, for like $5. It's playable, but probably one I'm not going to play a whole lot due to the condition, but still, I consider it a score. It's just something you never find around these parts, especially outside of, like, say, Lincoln or Omaha, And then picked up on this one just recently, as you guys know. This makes the number 10 spot. Syd Barrett, Madcap Laughs. Didn't know if I was going to be picking up on this one, honestly. This is a record that goes down with me in history, as I've explained. This is one of the very early remnants of like Pink Floyd, and like even before the Syd Barrett era. I got exposed to this one first, and it's got some sentimental value to me. As a listener, just for as far as like how far I've came, as far as like my adventurous music taste in this genre. It's kind of cool to reflect back on this because I hadn't listened to it in like who knows how long in full, like 5 years or so, and wasn't sure if I was going to pick this up due to the price tag, but ended up trading enough in and got this for like, I think it was 25 out of pocket for this, so pretty nice score. It's on the Harvest label, and it's original copy without the EMI box on the label, which I'll share for all you record nerds out there. And yeah, laminated cover, but they don't last forever either. So yeah, we'll see what the new year brings. Just gonna see what new acquisitions land in my pad. So yeah, I got a few things coming in the mail as well. I do have a few records to talk about, I believe. I got maybe 2 or 3 at the house right now, and should be getting a few more in the mail, and I just ordered some over the holidays, so they'll probably cross into next year. Let me know what you guys think of my finds. So take care, and we'll see you soon.